I saw a message earlier from a farmer, and she was spot on. How she's on the fence about everything, and I think that she's kind of sums up what a lot of other farmers are talking about. So if you're not aware of what's going on, if you're just like in the member public, maybe not necessarily involved with farming, is supermarkets have been blockaded by some militant farming groups, which has nothing to do with some other farmers, myself included. Also, Morrison's and now Asda have come out of the woodwork, which is really good, promoting their support for British farms against the inheritance tax rules and all of that noise, which again is very good because obviously we need the support from supermarkets to be able to produce the food and sell it on, of course. And there's been a lot of problems between the two in the sense that militant groups have been spreading the word of farmers, which doesn't necessarily represent all farmers. A lot of farmers are concerned because they supply, Morrison's, or they supply Asda or Tesco or any of these ones that are getting blockaded by militant acts. And so you do run the risk of these supermarkets, throwing the towel in on you and you losing your means to supply. And that would be a massive blow for farms. So farmers are obviously thinking to themselves that they want change. They want a return on the inheritance tax. They want better prices from supermarkets. But for you out there who isn't involved in farming, what do you do about it? It's something that's very complicated, very complex. But being on the fence is a really tough place to be because it's one of those places you are where you don't feel like you're making any progress. You feel like rock on a hard place. You don't know which way to turn. You know how you feel about certain acts. Myself included, don't agree with strong blockading. I don't agree with stopping people going into supermarkets and ruining their day. I don't want to be like Just Stop Oil and start super gluing my face to the road. We have to do this in the way that farms do this. Farmers are peaceful people. We're not militant people, not normally. We're people that stand up for what we believe in because we live day to day a life of what we believe in. And that's very important. So I just think that it's really, really hard to decide which way to turn at the moment. But one thing is for sure, we need to make sure we're always buying British produce. We're always supporting our British farms or our local farms. Tell supermarkets what you think when it comes to whether you want the British produce and you don't want to see imports, or you want to see a certain local business represented in your local supermarkets. All these things can help farmers. It's been a really tough spell for farming, but it's been also a very useful spell for farming because I'd say a lot of people now have started to really understand what's going on farms. And it's actually been a slight blessing in disguise because it's given us an opportunity to be able to talk to people who aren't involved in farming. And it's without you, the great British public, what use is farming, So, yeah, I think that we need to make sure that our goals remain clear. We want a return on the inheritance tax rules because that massively impacts the security of food production in this country. And I'll harp on about it constantly, but it's true. That is fundamentally the problem. We don't want to start making food shortages and things like that in supermarkets. They could come off their own accord in the future if we don't have farms, that's for sure. So we don't want to sort of give anybody an early taste because that's not really what we're about either. So let's remain calm, polite, and doing things the way we want to, but making sure that our goals are clear and our message is clear and spot on. We need to get rid of the inheritance tax. We need to make sure farms aren't sold in this country to rich people who can just develop it or turn it into solar panels, and we're going to stop producing food. We're only one COVID import problem, one Ukraine war, one massive, terrible winter away from having no food being able to be imported into this country? What would happen if they had these terrible weather in Ukraine or these breadbasket nations like Canada, where suddenly the produce isn't available? I mean, we just haven't got it. We'll just all go hungry. It's as simple as that. So forget who owns what, forget what we do, forget all of these things, forget how rich farmers are, how poor farmers are, how rich you are, how poor you are. Irrelevant. We all eat 3 times a day, and that is the point. Without farms in this country, we risk not being able to eat. And I think that's what the problem has been lately, is everyone's on the fence. The supermarket protests, the inheritance tax and all these things. You don't know which way is the right direction. But what we do know is we need farming to stay, and farming needs to be secure. And that does not happen with the inheritance tax rules. It's as simple as that. Share this video, guys. I really appreciate it. Cheers. Have a good one. Bye.